Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first BPAC of 2025. So this is the first of what we will see will be a regular bi-monthly meeting so that we can share information, share how the product is developing, news about commercial progress, and setting really the scene of what we're going to be going globally as well as within the particular markets. I am joined today, and if you don't know me, if it's the first time attending a Business Partner Advisory Council, I'm Jeff Richards. I carry a historic title, which is the Head of Training Program Development, but I do, in my day-to-day work, a lot of the conversations that take place between the partners, like yourselves, independent solution vendors, solution providers, and also our development team and support teams around the world. I do a lot of the education and writing around the topic, and I do a fair amount of the business analysis work, which goes into the development of the roadmap. That's me. And I am joined today. I'm very, very pleased to say that I'm joined today by three additional speakers who will be sharing their news and expertise. The first is I'm very, very happy to have is Elizabeth Pangana, who is the head of our engineering and support team. She'll be talking to us about the patches that have been released last week and coming into this week, addressing the exchange integration uplift, and we'll also be talking about the features coming in 2025 R1. I'm also joined by Mark Engelberg from TimeLinx, and Mark will be sharing really a very, very nicely worked story about how his professional services integration tool is available to the wide group of partners, and really how it makes use of both Sage CRM and also the adds value into the underlying accounting systems. And of course, one of the things about here as we're developing resources for you as partners is to think about the competitive situation, and I am very pleased that we are also going to be hearing from Jeff Tweardy, who is going to be explaining how you go up against a giant and use a slingshot to kill it. We'll be hearing about how Jeff has kicked out Salesforce and has brought back Sage CRM and Sage 300 into an account. So that's what we've got for you today. And so let's actually start to press on. So I will be reminding us about the purposes of the Business Partner Advisory Council. We'll be looking at the development update, looking at some of the recent activities, and give you a sense of actually the commitment that Sage is making to Sage CRM. We'll look at some of the news, as I said, from TimeLinx and CAT Consulting when we hear from Mark and Jeff, and we'll also then look at the roadmap. And we've got now an updated roadmap all the way through until 2027. So there's lots of news to share about that, as well as news about add-ons and collateral. And I'll then turn over to you to hear all about your success stories so that we can start to capture that, and I can start to think about the way in which we are going to create case studies from all of the exciting things that you're doing. So what is the Business Partner Advisory Council all about? We aren't obviously here a completely open list. This is a select group of people, and you've been invited to take part because we think that you are the right people in the right place to be able to help us develop our strategy. So we want to make sure that you hear from us about what we're doing, understand our vision, want to be able to make sure that through conversation we're doing the right thing, help us to understand what we should be doing, so eliminating those blind spots, and to be able to understand why the roadmap is as it is, and so we can make adjustments if necessary based on the absolute commercial imperatives that you're identifying. And of course, it's here to strengthen our relationships and to get a sense that we are a team working together to make sure that Sage CRM conquers the world, maybe one customer at a time. We're going to be meeting on a bi-monthly basis, and if you know and you think someone in your team should have an invitation, please send me the details of that person to sagecrmteam@sage.com. And also, if you think that there is another partner, either a developer, an ISV, or a solutions provider that needs to be added to here, then let me know as well, and I'll gladly consider expanding the list. Now, this is a statement that has come from our own objectives. So this is something that has been passed down from our own management to set the scene for what Sage thinks about Sage CRM. So Sage is continually telling us that they have a long-term strategy for Sage CRM. We are tasked with keeping Sage CRM relevant and making sure that customers keep renewing and new customers keep buying as well. So it is all about making sure that we are doing the work that will modernize the system, to uplift it as much as possible, to do the innovation that we want, and we are free within Elizabeth's team to be able to do what is necessary to be able to achieve the goals that we have. And I think Elizabeth will be talking about some of the investment that Sage is making in a little bit. Each time you come on to any of my presentations, you get a repeat of the product vision, because it's the product vision that is driving what goes into the roadmap. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing, we are removing any of the irritations and blockages that will allow integrations to take place. And we are therefore making sure that we've got the right tools within the product, the right APIs, to allow for seamless integration. We also want to make sure that what we are working with allows our managers within the implementations that we have, the instances of Sage CRM around the world, to get the information that they need to make decisions. So that's a combination of the workflow behavior and also the reporting behavior that we have. And I've talked about that, the idea of the integration capabilities, but it's more than simply having two bits of software on the same server talking. We need to have APIs that allow for wherever those systems are to be able to communicate. So it is looking at improving all the way our APIs that we've got in the system. And so nearly every time you'll see later on, I will be mentioning and REST API improvements to ensure that we're constantly improving things from a development perspective. And we are always looking at click elimination where we can, and to get rid of anything redundant within the interface. We have got one of the projects that is sitting within this, and I realize I haven't called it out within the roadmap, is actually our usability and accessibility project, which is running within the context of 2025 and 2026 into 27. So we are thinking about our interface all the time. And one of those ways of which we can enjoy Sage CRM is to make sure that we can deploy Sage CRM anywhere. And that's still one of our priorities, to get to the point where you can deploy silently and easily and automatically, so that if you are a partner providing infrastructure and hosting capabilities to your customers. You want to be able to deploy automatically, and we'll be looking at that and how that fits into our roadmap as well. And lastly, we all need Sage CRM to be as performant as we can get it, with reliability, and allow for scaling. And that's something that you'll be hearing as well, I think, when Mark talks about the fact that we're not frightened of whether we go from 10 users all the way through to 700 users. It is making sure that Sage CRM can scale to the size of customer that you have. One of the things that I think that has already started to make an effect is the simplification of licensing. It's almost at the point where I can say that we have done that. We can't get any more simple than that, but I'll be emphasizing that a little bit later on when we have heard from Jeff and the way in which we've won in the context of Salesforce. So that's our product vision, making sure that we are addressing each of these particular points so that Sage CRM can sit in a customer's site as a powerful, full-featured CRM. Now, I had a French partner comment to me the other day that they've been working with it, working with Sage CRM for over 15 years. It's not the sexiest of products, but it does everything you need it to do, and it's very, very powerful. And it is certainly true. Sage CRM, for the size of product that it is, covers everything. Like the positioning where we are, we do leads, so marketing, sales, customer support, all the way through to operational control. And we've got all the features that you would expect for being able to customize and extend. We want to be able to ensure that when Sage CRM is integrated with an accounting product, that accounting product information can help businesses make decisions in whatever department that users are within. So it becomes relevant to bringing financial information into each of the offices within a building. And that's really the whole thing, is that Sage CRM isn't just a point solution, it is a full-featured product. Now, I'm going to hand over now to Elizabeth, because we've got some core news coming about our patches and releases. And so, Elizabeth, just tell me when you want to move on to the next slide, if that's okay.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Hello to everybody. I'd like to start with an apology. These are the patches that address a change that Microsoft made to a role that affects our integration with Exchange Online. We've known about this change for a while. Updating CRM to accommodate this change was a lot more complicated than we had anticipated. We had wanted to get these patches out last month. We didn't make that deadline, but the first of the 3 patches is out. It came out last Friday. It's been deployed in some sites already. There have also been a few glitches with the Microsoft side of configuration, but we're there and we're syncing. So it's a great relief to be able to tell you that the first patch is out. The 23R2 and 22R2 patches will be out this Friday. They should be going to QA this evening. So can we get the slides? Yes, we can. The reason why we're doing 3 patches is so that all customers on supported versions of CRM will have a patch for their version of CRM. So if you're on 24R1, you can upgrade directly to 24R2.1. If you're on 23R1 or R2, there will be a patch for you on Friday, and likewise for 22R1 and R2, there will be a patch available on Friday. This also means that you don't need a new license. If you've got a 22R1 version of CRM, you've got a 2022 license, so you don't need a new license for the patch. There is a fair amount of configuration when you apply this patch. Everything is in the README. There's a chat on the Sage Community Hub about issues that people have had, and we've been updating that from the support team, and I've done a few updates as well. So if your customers have issues, if you have issues yourself as a partner, please have a look at the Sage Community Hub and let us know if you're having any issues with the patches. But we can confirm that they are installed and working on customer sites as of today, which is great. Thank you, Jeff. Can you click on to the next one? So 25R1 is a slightly smaller release than the usual maintenance release because we've spent so much time over the last 6 months working on the patches. So we have a few features, a few bug fixes. One of the highlights, obviously, of 25R1 also relates to Exchange integration. So the patches replace most of the functionality, but not the integration of tasks between CRM and Exchange Online. So you can sync appointments, fine, but you can't sync tasks at the moment with the patches. So with 25R1, we will include the synchronization of tasks between CRM and Exchange Online. We are also making some changes to the demo data. So if you're a sysadmin, that's useful to you. And we are addressing customer issues, so bugs and feature requests from customers. It's always really, really important to address these, as many of these as we can in every maintenance release, because sometimes the smallest niggle is the reason why someone is not happy to keep using CRM. So something that seems fairly innocuous to a developer will be a daily headache to an end user. So it's important that we address customer bugs and feature requests, as many of them as we can in every maintenance release. And then finally, as with every maintenance release, there are some security enhancements. Whenever we find a security issue, we fix it as soon as we can. It's one of the main reasons why customers are encouraged to upgrade as often as possible to make sure that their systems remain secure. Yeah, that's about it. You'll get the slides afterwards, and you can go through the features in 25R1 in more detail, and there is another slide later for the full 3-year roadmap as well. Thank you, Jeff. So because of the patches, our release date for 25R1 is delayed slightly. It should have come out at the end of this month. That date, March 31st, is now the early builds, the beta release for integration testing. So if you're on the list of partners that gets a pre-release build of a maintenance release, you'll be getting yours on the 31st to do some initial testing. Please get back to us with any issues that you find, and we'll see if we can fix them as soon as possible. And then 2 weeks after that, it'll be the deadline for all the issues to be reported. And on the 25th of April, which is a Friday, is the date we have for internal releases. So that's when the build goes out to all our opcos in all the regions, and then it will be disseminated to the partners from there. So I'm going to end with an apology as well. I'm sorry that 25R1 is going to be delayed, but we hope it will be a satisfactory maintenance release, and we're looking forward to releasing it. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. And if you do want to make sure, if I've not written to you before to indicate that you are on the beta access and you would like to be on the beta access, then guess what? You can email me at sagecrmteam@sage.com. I will add you to the list, and then you'll be able to have access to 2025 R1 release candidate on the 31st of March. Thank you very much, and we're going to now give a recap as to some of the recent activities. This is really where I want to be able to emphasize what's happening in terms of investment from Sage. And we'll also see a little bit later on and bring Elizabeth back in to talk about some other aspects of that when we come on to the roadmap. But here for the things that, if you like, on a day-to-day experience of using Sage CRM and working within the community, you will have noticed that the old community has gone. We've now amalgamated everything that was on community.sagecrm.com and brought that across into the communityhub.sage.com. So that means that we are united with all of our core integration spaces. So there's not you don't have to look in other places. We have left some of the fast links available. So we've got community.sagecrm.com brings you to the right place within the community hub. blog.sagecrm.com brings you to the blog content, and video brings you to the YouTube channel. So we have got all of this YouTube information. We are putting up lots of information up onto the e-learning threads within inside the Sage Support YouTube channel. One of the things that we've been doing since we last met was creating a whole set of courses within inside the YouTube channel. So we're dividing up all the existing videos as well as recreating and re-recording fresh videos that are needed. So we are you can go on to the Sage Support and Training YouTube channel, and you can see loads of CRM content. There's over 220 videos, all focused on Sage CRM, all aspects. Now, another thing that I'm very, very pleased about is that Sage has discovered the power of conferences in terms of allowing confidence to be built within the channel, and we've been represented this financial year at the TPAC conference in Asia, as well as the TPAC conference in South Africa. These are important because they are focused very much on partners who are selling our core partner accounting products. So in the case of Asia, it was focused on Sage 300 and Sage X3, and in South Africa, it was focused within the Sage 300 and the local Sage 200 Evolution product. And we've had a very strong, yes, and I'll be mentioning that in a moment, Kelly. And I'll be mentioning that in a moment, Mark, because these conferences have had a huge impact on really the engagement. We have seen, for example, the uptick of number of people taking exams and interacting with our e-learning material since South Africa just go off the chart. In the case of Sage Asia, one of the things that is coming up is that I've got a presentation coming up within the Sage Australia team, and that's going to be interesting. I'll talk about that just in a moment. But Kelly and Mark, I am going to TPAC. I'm going to see you in April in Toronto, and that's very, very exciting. This is where effort is best applied within the most interested partners who are rather than get lost in a crowd. So I'm very pleased that this will be my second time attending a TPAC in Canada, and my first time actually taking part in the as a speaker. I'm very much hoping that I'm actually going to muscle in on the keynotes as well. I managed to muscle in at the South African conference, and we were very well. The CRM message was very well received, even within the Sage 200 Evolution platform. Now, one of the things that if you are a 300 focused partner on, is check out this blog article from Mish Martins. He's a South African partner, MWare. From his own sort of back and own efforts and collaboration with some of the other members of the community, they have created a new essentially partner grouping with a very active set of presentations and regular webinars on 300, and also a very active WhatsApp group that I have to keep muted because I can't help on the 300 side, but occasionally CRM questions come up. It is a very good resource, and I'm glad that Mish has posted within the CRM community because in terms of deals, the case studies at the conference that we heard were absolutely fantastic. Interesting in South Africa, of the 6 success stories, big success stories that were shared by the partners within that conference, 2 of them were CRM big scale projects. Very, very exciting stuff that is coming out of South Africa and Southern Africa as a whole. Now, I mentioned that the engagement, one of the side effects of engaging in the Asian conference is that I'm now going to be conducting a partner meeting in April. That's straight after coming back from TPAC Toronto. So this is very exciting again, and I'm very pleased that we'll be showcasing to partners in the X3 and the Intact channel as well there. And I'll be talking about case studies around the integration with Intact and also X3 that we have. So stepping on, this is where I'm going to get both Mark and Jeff ready to jump in, because we are going to be looking now at insights from TimeLinx and CAT Consulting. Well, I've managed to, you see the deliberate mistake there in my slide. I've managed to get things back to front there. Explaining a little bit about the strategy, and before talking about and letting Mark's presentation take place, is that we have a strategy because of all of the things about making sure that we're ready for integration, because we're getting the APIs ready, because we're doing all of this. We are going to be following the 300 model and talking about how the partners are the most important thing that will cause Sage CRM to be an optimized solution for our customers, rather than pressing it on the basis that everyone has to do some development work. No, we want Sage CRM dropped in, and then you get the right add-ons to be able to frame Sage CRM as a product that is needed. And that's going to be whether you're looking at something like Sage Enterprise Intelligence, or for the reporting and dashboarding, or whether you're using S5 Maps for mapping and route planning, or project management, TimeLinx. And this is where you can see the pattern that we're going on is looking and developing that ecosystem. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut up and hand over to TimeLinx. Now, if you want to hear more from Mark, there's a very good podcast available, where he talks to me about TimeLinx. But Mark, let's see if anyone has any questions for you.
Yeah, I just thank you all for watching. I recorded that on the hunch that I would still be suffering with COVID and coughing and retching throughout the talk, which I am, in fact. So that's why I recorded that instead of walking through it. So thank you all. Yeah,
Thank
open
you.
for questions. Yeah.
Well, there's an applause. Some people like that very much. Yeah, so that's good. But it doesn't sound like anyone's going to rush in with a question. Please do contact Mark if you want more details about TimeLinx. And thank you.
Thank you.
We're moving. If there are no questions for Mark, then I'm going to step on and look at the next thing, which is really getting to think about Sage CRM in a competitive environment. This is something that I found myself talking about both within Asia and within the Southern African conferences, looking at what are the different push and pull factors as to why people may want to buy Sage CRM over something like a Monday or a HubSpot or a Salesforce or whatever. On the face of it, Sage CRM is not the most glamorous of products. We admit that. It is a very utilitarian product, but that's probably really part of its strength and its flexibility to be able to be altered and changed around our customers' needs. So as part of this, I wanted to have you hear from somebody who has been very effective in making sure that Sage CRM can be positioned and understood as a competitive product to any product in the market. And so this is where I'm going to hand over from one Jeff to another Jeff.
All right, Jeff squared, right, Jeffrey?
Yes, the power of Jeff.
That's right. Do you have our slide there?
You do. It's on the screen. Win
There
back
we go.
from
Thank
sales.
you. Yep, I got it. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So Jeff and I had we had a conversation a little while ago, and I indicated to him that we had a client. They were about 40 users, and they were using the Sage 300 integration with sales orders. And this goes back to probably 21, right after COVID. They were very busy, and we were having some issues with the Sage 300, not being able to keep up with them during their order entry. So they do a lot of order entry from within the CRM. They sell both equipment, and then they have post-sale activities for selling filters, which last about 6 months. So there's a lot of call out, a lot of marketing that they do, but their big issue was they just couldn't get a steady integration. And we did everything. We had Sage come in. Albert, I think, was in there. We had everybody in there. So they went out and they went to Salesforce. Now I've been around this ecosystem since 2002, and we've all won or lost to Salesforce. I actually enjoy going against Salesforce because the one thing where we do win is between integration and price. Most of our clients do not have the infrastructure or the discipline to handle a Salesforce implementation. These guys decided they needed to leave. Okay, so they leave. About 6 months ago, they came back. And what we were able to show them was, number one, we had a better way of integrating all the information they needed, such as presenting to their users what equipment does somebody own, when was their last purchase, when was their filter replaced, and have proactive emails and marketing that goes out based on that information. having the visibility of that sales data was extremely important to them, because in Salesforce, obviously, without any direct integration, which they were trying to use a third party, which didn't work out well for them, people were having to enter this information manually. So we showed them a way. Oh, look, here you go. You go into a dashboard and here's your information you're looking for. To solve the issue of the ordering, we brought in Conligo's order desk. So conligo.ca has a very nice, simple order entry web screen that sits inside of the opportunities. Can run standalone, by the way, for Sage 300, but we like to sit it inside of opportunities, and they can go ahead and process their orders. They can also take a credit card directly on that screen, which was huge for these guys. They would have to send a form or write down the credit card information, which we all know is not a good thing. But then they could immediately take that credit card on the fly. They could even send them an order form where if the customer didn't want to give you the credit card, they could go ahead and send the order form, click it, pay it, and everything just worked right through the workflow. This allowed them, and we were able to show them how we could have actually better pipeline management than what they had in Salesforce. Most of the pipeline is automated as the order runs through the ordering system. So as Sage 300, we take it from a quote to a order to shipping, and each of those stages are all shown as it goes through. The other thing that was surprising to me, and this kind of gets, I think, to the price issue, is they were complaining about things like, well, when they do a quote inside of Salesforce, it doesn't connect to the opportunity. I don't know if that's true or not. I can't believe that it is. However, that was their experience. And I believe it had to do with, maybe they ran out of funds to implement. But there were several of those kind of things that we showed them in CRM. Well, here we can show you directly how we can do that. We change screens, and as everybody knows, the customability of CRM is pretty simple. So we went live with these guys a week ago, and things seem to be going well. So they're I don't think any of us need to be afraid to go up against Salesforce. Certainly, if they're larger clients and they have the infrastructure, yeah, we don't have all the toys yet that Salesforce has. What we do have, though, is we have integration that not only out of the box we can make work very well, but we can also adapt it so that they can get the information right on dashboards, right on the company screen about sales information that Salesforce and a third party have difficulties in doing. So it really has made them a lot more efficient.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that. And that is a really fantastic story about winning against one of the big beasts inside our market. Does anyone have any questions for Jeff before I press on? In fact, if you want to know more about Jeff, he's written a blog article a little while ago up on the Sage site. It's not always that we have a Sage featured author presenting to us, but it is very good that you are a Sage featured author. It's got a very nice biog there. And any questions? If there are no questions, I'm going to emphasize one of the winning points for Sage CRM is this is our very flat and simple pricing structure. And we've been going through and making sure that all of our operating companies, countries around the world understand that what you get from Sage CRM is everything from the initial subscription. So this is making sure that everyone can access Sage CRM, the full power, right from their initial user. So there's not additional charges for any of the APIs. There's nothing scaling to turn on workflow or to any of those features. This is a flat, easy to understand model, making sure that people can have a sense of the total cost of ownership with an easy to calculate return on investment. If I step through and start thinking about the roadmap, this is perhaps one of the things that people would like to know about, and we have got a public roadmap available to you. This is, as was 2024 R2, and will be updated as we get closer to 2025 R1. And the roadmap itself, though, this is the fresh roadmap showing our development priorities. Mark, it is part of self-service now is freely available for all customers within South Africa. That is something that we have changed.
I think that change kicks. Sorry, Jeff. I think that change kicks in for the 2025 licenses.
I think it actually has to be for 2020. I think customers on 2024 can certainly request it because of the Quick Cow feature.
Right. I'll check up on that, Mark. I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Now, what we've got, drum roll, is now a price list running through into a roadmap running through until 2027. What you can see here is that we have made changes to 2025 R1. If you you can find the earlier roadmaps that have been mentioned. Where we have here on our 2025 R1 is that we're concentrating, as Elizabeth explained, on the really essentially the finishing off of the exchange integration tasks. 2025 R2, we have got again focusing in on integration capabilities. You can see that we're looking to implement webhooks. We're looking to improve the experience of system administrators and those involved in support by zip and send logs. But there has been some slippage, so aspects, things like the WhatsApp integration, the ambitious switch to Kendo Grid, for example, for lists, that's been pushed out to 2026. I know that some people want certain features, and those features are things like single sign-on and integration with Entra, and being able to tie into the Sage network. I have been involved in a lot of meetings associated with this, and we are dependent on making sure that we're working alongside Sage 300 and other accounting products, and we have to be able to get to a point where we are working with them. Now, 300 is not going to get to single sign-on certainly until the end of 2026 and probably 2027 as well. So we're aligned with 300's roadmap on that, and we are also aligned when it comes to the development of the Sage Network and Sage Connect stories, which I'll explain about. One of the things, though, I am very pleased about in this development cycle of 2025 and now flowing into 2026 is that we have got additional resources available to be able to start the transition to the full 64-bit environment. Now, Elizabeth, can you share any more about where we are with that?
No. Not really. I am looking to hire people for the transition, but I can't actually share any more than that. Sorry.
Well, that's good. Well, I will fill in the rest of the story then. So we are getting the key thing is that we are not limited to the development team that we have. We are going to be expanding the development team to get us to this point, so we can continue with feature development as well as doing this technical debt payoff. So we are going to be making sure that we are addressing all of those good things that will come from a move to a 64-bit environment. That's making sure that the DLL that we know and love, the eWare DLL that we know and love, is full 64-bit rather than a 32-bit experience for you. I put into the roadmap there the conversations about Sage Network and Sage Connect. You'll see in a moment that we have got use cases analyzed for this, and I've even been meeting with the team for Sage Network today. We have got now this within the release cycle of 2027, because this is the earliest point that any of the structures that we are interested in doing, for example, pushing orders across, will actually be there, because it's at the moment it's all about invoices. The story for the Sage Network and Sage Connect is all about that portal to be able to chase payments for things. And a precursor for this is to make sure that we have Sage ID implemented and SSO and MFA within there, and that is where we synchronize with both with the Sage Network teams and the 300 teams. We're ready to go, but they're not, so it's a question of aligning with that, and that's the development timetable. The use cases that we've identified are quote approval mechanisms, so the idea that quotes raised within Sage CRM can be put up onto the Sage Network and into the Connect portal to be able to, for review by a customer, who will then be able to say, I approve this quote, and so it will then be able to flow back into CRM so that the rest of the integration workflow and promotion as a order into the accounting system can progress. And the flip side of the collection management is that we want to be able to look at the accounts that are due, to be able to build groups to power for outbound calls, so that you can follow up the emails that have been sent out from the Connect platform with telephone calls saying, I know that you have looked at your invoice and you know how much you owe. Please pay, and have those sorts of progress chasing conversations with customers and use CRM for that. That updates where we are with our roadmap. I will be making this presentation immediately available, so you can have that and be able to share this with colleagues. We've got some new documentation that has largely been driven by either training material that we've created or through the conference presentation, so that there are white papers or short brochures available now for the mobile theme discussion, implementation and developer best practices, and Sage CRM as a product that drives growth, efficiency and customer success. We're also, we have been busy creating other add-ons and features. We're going to be adding really quite a lot of these for 2025 R1, but I'll share that after the release of 2025 as to all the things that we've got. We've got about 20 odd add-ons that we'll be extending and updating for 2025 R1. But QuickCal version 1.1 is an interesting new tool. It allows us to, instead of going with Exchange integration, it allows you to have, as soon as a new appointment is created, to send out an email with an ICS attachment, so a calendar attachment that can then be accepted on your mobile phone or on Gmail, and to be able to add into whatever calendar system that you're using, whether it's the iPhone calendar system that syncs back into Exchange, or whether it goes back into Google Mail or into the Google Calendar. This is a useful little add-on very useful in contexts where Exchange integration is not being used as well. I shall call out Mark Reedy. He very nicely wrote an article and shared a new add-on which enhances the Sage CRM interface by adding icons into the context of companies and persons drawn from LinkedIn information using the and corporate websites. So a very useful, very nice little add-on, and if you follow that particular QR code, you'll come to the blog article that describes it, which also has all of the associated links to the GitHub location where you can download that. Thank you very much, Mark, for creating that. We're coming to the end of our extended half an hour, because you've heard from TimeLinx and you've heard from CAP Consulting. I'd like to hear from other people at the next BPAC. So who is going to volunteer to share a profile of their work as a solution provider, or share an aspect of their solution that they've created as a ISV? Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that it has been a very useful meeting for you. I'm going to share out tomorrow the presentations with everyone and also the recording. Thank you. Goodbye.